So let's get started. We called the first part of this presentation Strengthening the Twins. And so I'm a Twin Cities kid, born and raised, grew up on the south side. I love this metro area. It's in my DNA. I keep a prayer journal I have for almost a decade with really bright, colorful pictures. The Twin Cities metro area, Minneapolis being sort of a vertical rectangle, St. Paul being a horizontal one. It's in there probably 150 times. I'm a 6'12" kid, have deep respect for my 6'1" brothers and sisters, and now the 9'2" and 7'6" posse. The Twin Cities metro area is a unique place. So what you'll learn about the Twin Cities if you do any sort of quantitative study is that we kind of got it going on, at least in the eyes of others that don't live in our metro area. So we've been named one of the top 10 places to live, and we frequently have cities in our metro area and around our state that make it in all of the lists of great places to live. We have this enormous corporate culture with lots of Fortune 500 companies, 19 of them. That does not include Cargill, the largest privately owned company in America that's in Minnetonka, as well as all of the mid-sized and small businesses. When you look at just the corporate sector, it's huge. It's huge. It's very successful. We are known as a very successful, high-producing metro area. This one's interesting. So we've been rated the least stressful major metro. I'm not exactly sure why that's true, because after this winter we just came through, I'm feeling a little bit of stress leave my body. But Forbes said it. There's not a high level of stress, generally speaking, among our population. We lead in health and fitness. So Snap Fitness, Lifetime Fitness, these businesses come out of the Twin Cities. We're a very fit place, especially in certain neighborhoods. If you just wake up early enough in the morning, people never stop running up and down the streets, right? People bike and do all these other things. We are a very fit city. Now, we are a philanthropic region. We are known nationally, internationally for our philanthropy. Our corporations have corporate foundations. Some of them are called the Keystone Companies. They give 5% of their revenue to philanthropy. We've got huge foundations, McKnight, Bush Leadership Foundation. McKnight's like 1.3 billion, Bush Leadership's like 900 million. There are multiple of these. So we're a philanthropic region. We give a lot of our money away. We support a lot of causes. Chicago calls us the land of 10,000 nonprofits. You can't be the land of 10,000 nonprofits without economic engines that run all of that stuff. Our civic engagement is very high. A lot of this is driven by the University of Minnesota's Humphrey School, but we are known as a very civically engaged place. People volunteer on boards. That's who we are. It's in the water. It's in our DNA. We are the most bike-friendly city in America, depending on who you ask. We've got all these new bike paths. If you guys look around the neighborhood, even in North Minneapolis, you'll see these new bikes that you can rent and ride around, and this is who we are becoming. This one's interesting, right? Most golfers per capita in the nation, right in front of, I believe, Orlando, Florida. So there's a lot of green space, some very, very wonderful golf courses here. Interesting. So as we're ticking down this list, just start. Theater seats. Our arts sector here in the Twin Cities is booming. Again, we're not Chicago or New York, but we are nationally known for our arts community. And we have, we're second only to NYC, Broadway. Finally, if you think about sort of our religious sector, we've got 28 megachurches and 1 gigachurch. Some of you from Eagle Brook are in the house tonight. The highest per capita in the nation. So if you look at all of these things, this wealth, this philanthropy, this really strong corporate environment, you think about the churches, which a lot of these corporate execs and other folks sit in, these philanthropy leaders. You have to come to the conclusion that this is certainly one of the best places to live in the nation, if not on the planet. How could it not be? Just look at the assets. Well, that's true for many people in our metro area, but it's not true for everybody in our metro area. We've got some things in our metro that are unsolved, significant challenges. Our achievement gap is one of the largest in the nation. In fact, our graduation rate between black and white males is the highest in the nation. Our unemployment gap is the widest in the nation. Again, between people of color and white folks. We've got these gaps. So what you have to do for this to all make sense to you is you have to cross-reference this wealth, this philanthropy, this enormous Christian community with some pretty significant problems. How do you balance that? I want to tell you just really briefly about my friend Jeremy. So Jeremy is, in my mind, a great kid. I met him when he was very young. I knew immediately he was a brilliant kid. And Jeremy and I spent a lot of time talking. Jeremy had hopes. Jeremy had dreams. Jeremy found himself without really much to do, because although he had a brilliant mind, he didn't achieve in school. He was not one of those high-achieving academic kids. And so he didn't have a lot of opportunity. He was raised by a single dad. Not that being raised by a single dad necessarily means that you're not going to succeed, but his single dad was not necessarily the epitome of what a single dad should be. In fact, one of my friends, Kenny Bristol, lived across the street from Jeremy for a few years. And one day, Jeremy's dad was chasing him in the yard with an axe. That's what Jeremy grew up in. So these challenges continued through high school. Jeremy and I would talk pretty frequently. I remember when Jeremy started getting involved in petty crime, and we'd talk through that, and he'd get off or whatever. He has a great smile when he's smiling, ladies' man. Just didn't work out for him when he got charged with first-degree attempted murder, second-degree attempted murder, first-degree murder, second-degree attempted murder, and multiple other charges. When the dust settled, Jeremy was doing 15 years. He's currently serving part of the last part of that sentence in Rush City. Brilliant kid, just didn't have the right environment to succeed. In the middle of our metro, you know what's the worst part of this story? When he got locked up, I was his youth pastor. See, Jeremy's not some kid that was disconnected from Jesus and nobody knew what was going on in his life. He was at youth group, participating, raising his hand. The question is, what are we going to do with kids like Jeremy? Why do some of our kids succeed when others don't? We've got this metro area, this ecosystem that's fantastic, has all these assets. Why are some kids going off to Harvard and other kids are not even graduating high school? The greater question, in my opinion, is what does all this have to do with the body of Christ? What is our responsibility in the middle of that? Is this just some sort of social justice problem that the church can wash its hands of? Or do we have a biblical mandate, a theological mandate to step into this?